have you heard anything about the economic impact of business owners being able to service fewer customers in the same square footage? How can business owners do accurate forecasting, and how can we expect commercial real estate changes in price per square foot?
Well, that's a great question. So normally when Michelle and I work on the business plans, particularly for restaurants, it's calculated generally like how many seats or tables you have in your restaurant. And what restaurants usually do is you would have like a per seat kind of revenue model that would say, just for example, if you have a dinner crowd and you have 100 seats and you can turn those tables over, twice a night, for example, and each seat generates, $40 per night. Well, suddenly now, if you can only have 25 to 50% of your seating, how do you, sustain your business the way it was developed prior to this? And so there, I think the models then have to change that, has the take up, people now are used to pick up and take out. So has that part of your business grown? And I think that's a place, can you replace that, with the extra seating chart? Like one of the restaurants that we work with, they have about 450 customers per night. So suddenly if you take that down to 100 people a night, that's a huge amount of money. And I think one of the things, so there, I think, some of the restaurants we dealt with before, they wouldn't have a delivery service. Well, now I think, people are used to having you deliver. And I think, so if you can create that delivery, one of the pizza parlors came up with a new thing, which I thought was a clever family thing, where instead of giving you the pizza, they gave you all the ingredients. And then, it was the dough, the sauce, the cheese, the pepperoni, and then it was a family activity. And then I think if there are other ways, like if you have, what other revenue things can you create? Like some restaurants, my daughter lives in New York with her husband, and they were allowed to create kind of like takeout specialty drinks, and they put them in these fun little containers. And, I don't know if it's so popular, people are drinking so much being home, or it was just kind of a really cool idea. And they were kind of like, tropical drink things and stuff. So I think there it would be really, I'd encourage, really working on different models. And I always like to try to visualize different pathways. So if you took, analyze your former business and what that looked like. And then analyze, things today, and then opportunities to move forward. And then I think about commercial real estate prices. There again, I think the effect of that, it's like if you are still paying your normal lease based on, what it was, 3 months ago, and suddenly your revenue is at a very different place. I think my feeling with commercial property owners is they, it's hard to get good tenants. And my mentor always said to me, if you take care of your tenants, they will take care of you. So there, I think, renegotiating leases, I think it's an appropriate time to do that, or at least, do that for, say if that's over the next year or two. And, in the lease put back, if the revenues come back to X amount, that then your lease can go back to that same amount. I think something like that is fair to do that. And then I think with restaurants too, like if you have, your grandmother's secret, spaghetti sauce, like, is that something that you can package and sell online? There was a barbecue place up the street from me, and what people loved was the barbecue sauce. And so I had encouraged him, to actually, package that. And he did. And he made a lot of sales just because, it was something he was making anyway, but people wanted it at home. And, if there are opportunities to do things like that, I think that might be helpful.
To go back for 1 second, when you guys were talking about, how do we do it different with the curbside? One of the things that Percy is looking into, we haven't done it yet, but is having a delivery service for all the businesses. So I know some owners of stores in Percy were actually delivering product to people's front door. Okay, but some people don't have that ability. So one of the things that we're working on is seeing if we can get multiple drivers that would pick up from multiple different businesses, like a retailer or a salon, and then deliver the product to those residents. So it's something to think about. I don't know if you guys through the bid or Main Street, if you knew of additional services, someone who would be wanting to become a delivery person that could serve multiple retailers, salons, and or restaurants instead of the curbside, because some people are still nervous about going to the place and putting something in the car, and they drop it off at your front door. Last week, my husband and I, someone dropped guacamole in a cooler at our front door with the chips. Paid over, Venmo, done. But again, you have to have that mechanism. So it might be something Souderton can look into if that would be helpful. I'm not sure, but I thought it was a good idea here for Percy.
Thank you, Michelle. It was a good addition.